We interrupt our programming for this live broadcast.
Do you want
Even more.
Obviously!
See, I'm Breed. I want everything you can think of.
Then I propose a deal.
Equivalent exchange! I'll give you
More.
awesome!
Videos.
If you
Please.
Like, comment,
Subscribe. Sorry about that interruption.
We're off! Let's hit the road!
Then we get to an episode that I have referenced many times now where Cornelia and Schneisel have a conversation about her bringing the glass to Knight, and he says, it's so good to have you here. The Flash herself. You're like the greatest warrior ever. No one can match you in combat. And Cornelia's literally embarrassed. And I speculate in the past that this could be a relationship that Schneisel actually is hitting on his sister. It could be that's just how Schneisel talks to people in general. Some people say he spoke to Rakshata like this in the Resurrection film. So that whole video, by the way, that when I did a clip, stream highlight of that, had a lot of opinions how like different societies are different when it comes to how relationships like this work. So I, as an outsider Westerner, think this is kind of weird, but some countries would say they're not romantically involved. They're just being overly friendly or kind to each other. So it's hard to say what was going on here. I definitely have a different perspective now reading the comments on that video. I still think it's weird how he's literally complimenting her and having her reaction is still the strangest part because she still is very, it's just, again, she doesn't respond this way to anyone else. It's really weird. I mean, maybe they weren't a thing, but man, Scheisel's really creepy. All right. If the Euphemia, if the Cornelia and Schneisel scene had some oddities, this conversation was just outright strange, okay? So not only is talking to Euphemia, when they were kids, they both argued who was going to sleep with Lelouch. And I forgot who they said won. But then she asked Euphemia a question. And look at her face, okay? Setting up here. What does she ask her? Do you still love him now? And Euphemia's probably thinking, what? Not only that's incest. Are you insane? And this is not sibling love, okay? This is romantic love. That's what she's asking her. She's asking Euphemia if she still loves Lelouch in a romantic sort of way. Because if it was a sibling, she wouldn't ask her that. Because obviously, not obvious, but she obviously loves Lelouch as a sibling. That's why I'm not convinced that when Lelouch said I loved you, I don't think he was talking about sibling love. I think it meant romantic, because why would Nellie ask her this question? It is so random. I kind of touched it before the other video, but I think that's incest. But I'm curious to see how people perceive or interpret this conversation, because I'm lost. Why would Nellie ask her if you still love Lelouch? That's beyond weird. Now, here's the part where I am very confused. Like, this dialogue that happened with C2 opens a can of worms of confusion beyond belief. And I don't know if the writers who made this show, they didn't know what they were doing when they wrote this, but here's why this is confusing. I'm going to read the dialogue for you, actually, because I think it's best to not take it out of context and read exactly what she says. Okay, here's what happens, right? She says, "For heaven's sake, I was forced to talk with that boring little man thanks to your silly prank. You sent Colin to the island? You're a very poor taste for being such an imperious observer." Imperious? I can't read. Whatever. Here's why this part confuses the heck out of me. If she was talking to V2, which is the one who transported them to the island, doesn't that mean V2 knows where she is and can go find her anytime he wants to? And therefore Charles knows where she is and they can get her anytime they want? I also didn't think she could talk to V2 and only Marianne. Marianne didn't transport them. It was V2. So this dialogue makes absolutely no sense. Really hurt my head. I was like, wait, but V2 transported them. She was talking to V2 telepathically with Marion. Were they all in on it? I thought they hid Lelouch from V2 so he, wouldn't kill them. Him and not only they said that they're in the Ragnarok connection. So I'm absolutely lost as to what the heck is going on with this. It's a simple conversation, but it's extremely confusing because I thought C2 and V2 were enemies, and more importantly, they were, she was trying to run away from him. So why would she talk to him and communicate directly? And I didn't think she was even talking to him directly. This is really weird. I got to do more investigation as to what exactly was going on here. But the conversation between these two didn't make any damn sense. So there's that. I got to figure out what was going on with this because when I was watching, I'm like, wait, but how? And okay, I don't know. Jumps on, and for the life of me, and I really don't know on this, why did she not get inside at any point? I don't understand how she hanged on long enough. Like, she never fell off this thing. I mean, this is a Gawain. It has 2 passenger spots, as we know. She could have jumped in at any point to get inside, and she never does. Is it a big deal? No, but it was kind of odd. I mean, when he fires the blast here, and I'll go to the actual scene in the episode. He almost killed Colin. It was really bad discharge of weapons here. Look at this. So when they're traveling, he's like, we'll go through them, right? So watch this, okay? He fires the blast. See, he almost killed Colin right here. I mean, that's reckless endangerment, man. He thought the weapons were ready to go, and he almost kills Colin. Man, this is like the second time now Lucia's stupidity almost cost her life. But whatever, she clearly likes being around him. At least at Zero. It's just kind of weird how, and Lucia also, it's kind of funny, I'm probably reading more into this, but he's like, man, the weapons are incomplete. Not, crap, I almost killed Colin. It's just like, yeah, it's alright, the weapons were incomplete. Oh, darn it. Again, not to go back and forth on this, but he almost killed her. I don't know. I'm probably being a little nitpicky there. And so they're flying, right? And again, Colin should get in the nightmare frame, and she never does. They're still flying away. So again, look at this right here. She's still not in the nightmare frame. I don't understand why he didn't open it up for her. But, okay. If no one else does it, it has to be us. Which is true. And this is a good metaphor in life in general, right? When you, on a smaller scale, if you want something to happen, you have to go out and do it. It's not just going to happen out of the blue. You have to make the effort. You have to decide one day that this is the time. There's no such thing as a perfect time in life. The perfect time is the time you choose to do it. So I don't know if that's what was, I'm not sure he was trying to imply that form of logic, but that's how I was interpreting the statement. We're not going to wait for someone else to do it. You have to make the change. You have to be the one to do it. There's never the best time. It's just the time. The best time is the time you make. There are opportunities in life, and when you look back at your life, you'll realize that everything connected. But that's only because you decide to actually do something. It wasn't like things were arranged that way. You made it happen. I believe what he was trying to say here. I could be totally reaching, but that's what I was thinking during that scene. So during this scene here, we have two people who just can't stand each other. And I mean themselves, because Nina hates herself, Yuffie hates herself. And this conversation is very interesting because, Nina's like, you're a goddess, you're perfect, I looked up to you, saved me. And Yuffie is like, no, I'm actually a pretty awful human being. I no one takes me seriously. Cornelia and Schneider, they're much better people because they've, I guess, psychologically bullied her whole life, which, man, that would be a good OVA too. Imagine we see, once Lucia's out of the picture, we see Euphemia, Cornelia, and Schneider growing up, and we get to see how abusive they were to her, because the way Yuffie talks about stuff, I think there was not physical, but mental abuse when she was growing up among her siblings, because she talks like she is a victim in this, right? But she's blaming herself. She's saying how, they're better than me. I look up to these people. But they're the ones who treat you like crap and don't really care about you. Now, granted, Cornelia is very upset when Euphemia died, right? And obviously when she was captured, she wanted to protect her. But at the same time, though, it's one thing to care about someone closely, but you also can't just like, if they have feelings or desires, you can't just throw them away because you don't like, because you don't take them seriously. So again, physically, I think Cornelia loved and cared for Yuffie, but some of her actions, were kind of awful. Because I get the impression the way Yuffie talks, I think she had some mental abuse in her past. That would have been a pretty good OVA if they ever discussed it. But anyways, so Yuffie's talking to Nina about she doesn't think he's a good person. And Nina's like, are you serious? You're a wonderful person. I absolutely, I adore you. You're like a goddess. And Euphemia's like, no, I'm not. But then Nina says something important. She says, you shouldn't hate yourself. And Euphemia's like, wait a minute. Don't hate myself. That was Suzaku's problem. Suzaku hates himself. So she says, you know what? I understand something. Thank you, Nina. So if you guys like Suzaku and Yuffie as a couple, you can thank Nina because she's the one who brought them together. Ironically, since Nina's the one who hates Japanese people and kind of racist, but Ellie wakes up, and this is, I'm sorry. C2 wakes up, and we see there's 3 Cheez-kuns. So this is kind of funny, but I think she has done the competition, she's ordered so much pizza that she actually filled up enough of those point sheets to get 3 Cheez-kuns. Little fact there, she actually has 3. See, the bow, the hat, and the one she sleeps with. You have this, which if you guys don't know, in Suzaku of the Counterattack, this is actually how he fights in that manga. So the manga came after the anime, obviously. So he used this armor. That's what he wears in battle. It's kind of cool. And Zero, I think, wears like an opposing one. See Cecile having a fun time hitting these whack-a-mos, which one looks like a Lodi. She keeps hitting that one all the time. And also we see again the Suzaku, the Lancelot outfit.